Boy, talk about a crazy alert. This is our the crazy alert for the day. If you're 3 years old and you're out in freezing snow and rain and sleet, and it's coming down so hard and it's so cold and it's so bad that even the volunteer searchers and the professional searchers, the police and fire department looking for this 3-year-old kid in the woods, say, we can't do this anymore. We've got to go home. We're going to die. How does a little kid, a 3-year-old who's not dressed for the winter, stuck in the woods, survive 2 full days? 2 full 24-hour periods, 2 nights in the woods. It actually happened. This actually happened. This is in North Carolina. This kid was lost in sub-zero temperatures, 3 years old. And when they finally, he came back, and when they found him, he said that, and it was in the low 20s Fahrenheit. I mean, it was well below freezing for 2 days. This little kid says a bear took him in and used its body heat to keep him alive, apparently. It's amazing. And yeah, there's lots of black bears in the area. You know, the Native Americans used to, in some tribes, used to refer to black bears to bears as grandfather or grandmother. Yeah, I think so. That's an amazing, crazy alert. Thank you, Shira. Howard in New York City. Hey, Howard, what's on your mind today?
Yeah, hi. I understand how to shut down a shutdown, but I don't understand what the government can do if he declares a national emergency. Can Congress do anything to stop that?
Yes, they can override him.
With what? Just straight legislative votes?
That's correct. If Trump declares a national emergency, both the House and Senate can vote, and it's simple majority votes in both cases, can vote to overrule his national emergency.
So if he vetoes it, they need a veto-proof margin. Is that right?
To the best of my knowledge, Howard. You know, we'll see how this plays out, because it's looking. I mean, the reports are now that, you know, Nancy Pelosi is still saying there's no way he's getting a wall. Thanks, Howard. And he's saying, well, maybe I'll do a national emergency then. In fact, he's asked for the advice of his legal counsel on that. So we'll see what happens. Conrad in Ramona, California. Hey, Conrad, what's on your mind today?
The way we did before. That's got to be the first words out of every Democrat's or progressive's mouth when someone asks, how are we going to pay for free college? How are we going to pay for Social Security? How are we going to pay for a new freeway system? The way we did before.
Right. And we need our politicians when people like, you know, Howard Schultz and whatnot, when these very rich people, or particularly these Republicans, come out and go, oh, you know, if you raise taxes, I'm going to have to leave the country. I mean, this is just, you know, I'm one of the job creators, and you can't do that. And this is through the 360 here, Sean. This is what FDR had to say about that.
A number of my friends who belong in the very high upper brackets have suggested to me on several occasions of late that if I am re-elected president, they will have to move to some other nation because of high taxes here. Now, I will miss them very much.
There you go. And that's got to be our response, Conrad.
Yeah.
Thanks a lot. Thanks a lot, Conrad, for the call. It's great to hear from you. Paul in Woodinville, Washington. Hey, Paul, what's up?
Yeah, and how are we paying for it now is the way I would respond to the last caller.
Yeah.
I wanted to talk to Congressman Rokon about, and you've had a guest on recently that says, tell personal stories. Okay, so let's talk about Medicare for all. My mom, week before last, had to go into the hospital for an emergency surgery. It wasn't serious. It was something she knew she had to have done, but it came to a crisis point, so she had to go, and took an ambulance to the hospital. And while she was there, because she went in an ambulance, did not bring, of course, her medications with her. One of her medications, because she has asthma, my mom is 90 years old, is now they're recommending a corticosteroid inhaler rather than the albuterol that is so common, the thing those of us that have asthma carry in our pockets. But these steroid inhalers are very expensive. They're about $225. They have 120 puffs in them, and believe me, that's 120, and that's it. Well, since she didn't have her inhaler with her, they kind of gave her one. They let her use one. 2 puffs in the morning, 2 puffs at night. The nurse brought the inhaler, and they charged her by the puff.
And it wasn't $2 a puff, was it?
No, it was. I think it was about $12.50 a puff. Because why? Because you have to have the nurse bring it to you. So the nurse brings it in the morning. Take your 2 puffs. They write it down. They charge her for each puff. She was there 4 days. 16 puffs out of 120 is what she used, and then they threw the rest of it away.
Whoa!
Because someone's already puffed on this.
That's
and
bizarre.
Medicare got charged.
That's bizarre.
For throwing away 85% of a very expensive medication. This has got to change.
Yeah, I'm with you, Paul.
And they say Medicare's going broke. Well, if you have laws that regulate drugs that way in favor of the drug companies, just throw away 85% of it. And that's like if you buy a bottle of wine in the restaurant and they charge you by the glass, and whatever you don't drink, they throw the rest away. Come on.
Yeah, you're absolutely right, Paul. And I don't know that this is a natural or legal or procedural extension of the Medicare Part D that Billy Townsend shepherded through Congress, which was a $600 billion subsidy to the big pharma industry, allowing them to spend a fortune on national television advertising now. So all we see are drug ads all the time. I don't know if there's a connection between the two, or if this is merely kind of in the spirit of. But spot on. That stinks. Paul, thanks a lot for the call. Dan in Waterloo, Canada. Hey, Dan, what's up?
Hey, I just wanted to know if you had an opinion on why the media is pushing so hard on Democrats to give something on this wall. They're not pushing Republicans at all. And, like, if you saw the way they talked to Nancy Pelosi, they asked her, so what about the wall? And she said, had I not been clear on the wall?
Right.
And the reporter actually said, no. So she said, yes, I've been clear on the wall. There is no wall.
Right.
And it's just they're constantly pushing on them. Well, what are you willing to give? What are you willing to give? Do you understand that?
Yeah, I do, and the media in this country has a solid Republican bias. It always has. I mean, look on any of the Sunday shows, for example. You'll see more Republicans than Democrats. You know, Democrats started seriously complaining about this in the early 2000s, particularly when the Republicans were all cranking up the enthusiasm to go to war with Iraq. And the network said, well, we've got to have more Republicans than Democrats on our news stories and on our Sunday shows because the Republicans are in power and people want to hear from who's in power. So then Obama becomes president for 8 years, and during those entire 8 years, every Sunday or virtually every Sunday, there were more Republicans than Democrats, and very rarely any genuine progressives at all on the Sunday shows. And they asked the networks again, why do you have more Republicans than Democrats on? And the network said, well, because the Republicans are out of power. And so people need to hear from the group that's out of power. And, you know, they're the loyal opposition. Americans want to know what's going on. The bottom line is that these are giant corporations. These are multi-billion-dollar corporations, Dan, and you know, with multi-millionaires running them. You know, the guy who ran CBS, Les Moonves, who left with a $120 million golden parachute, who was finally taken away from him. But I mean, this is how bizarre this guy is. He had 2 full-time employees at CBS, young women whose only job was to come to his office whenever he wanted, lock the door, and service him sexually at any random time throughout the day. 2 full-time employees. This was their job. I mean, this is how bizarre the world of the media elite right now is. And, you know, it's just really unfortunate, but it's time to bring the Sherman Act to every industry in America and restore some genuine competition. Dan, thanks for the call. Michael in Oakland, California. Hey, Michael, what's up?
Hey, Tom. Tom, I'm really upset with Trump, so I'll say that first.
Okay.
But I'm really kind of confused with South America.
Mm-hmm.
South America is in the Americas, and this fool is talking about common sense. And he's letting these people starve the same way he did with the people who he just put out on strike. You know, he made them strike. He made them not go to work. You know, he says common sense. This man has no sense. There's something wrong with this guy. We have to get him off of there. We have to get him out of there.
Would you rather have Mike Pence, Michael?
I beg your pardon?
Would you rather have Mike Pence?
Please. Mike Pence is up to his eyebrows, and just like Sean said on Rachel.
Yeah.
But what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to keep this perspective. I've been watching this for almost 3 years. You know, I broke out in hives just last month. Had to go to the hospital because the doctor said it was turn off the TV.
Wow.
You understand?
Well,
So
maybe
what
you
I
should
did
turn
was-
off the TV then, Michael. I mean, it's time
I
to
did.
take up,
Hey,
you know,
he's on
jogging or
everything,
something.
Tom. The man's on everything. He's infiltrating
You're right.
our minds every day, you know?
Yeah.
So I have to turn him off. But it's impossible to get away from this demon. He's the devil's disciple. That's who he is. He
Yeah.
has no spirit at all. That's why he sits up there like he's some kind of king or something. It really pisses me off. Let me stop.
Yeah.
Pisses me off just to see this personality. He's a fraud.
Yeah.
He's a charlatan.
I get it, Michael. I agree with you. I agree with all that. And there's a certain kind of core psychological survival mechanism, and that is don't stick to him. This is the old tar baby story from Uncle Remus. Do not stick to your opponent. And the way that you stick yourself to somebody is through hate, it's through obsession, it's through fear. We need to let go of all those things and just say, no, we're not going to embrace Donald Trump that way. Michael, thank you for the call. I get it. It's very upsetting to me as well.